Now, this is a unique way to make more money driving for Uber and Lyft and get higher ratings and more tips. So, of course, everything we want as drivers. I've not talked about this in any other video, and that is driving differently in the morning, evening, and night. So let's get into it. Again, I've not talked about this in any other video, but it's something I want to bring up because I find that depending on how you drive, especially related to the time of the day, can have a huge impact on getting a high rating or a low rating. So I'm gonna go and start from morning, then evening, and night. So in the morning, my driving style is a lot different. And by driving style, I might as well be more specific. Maybe the not the best word for that. I don't drive differently per se. It's more my demeanor and my approach as a rideshare driver. In the beginning, when I first started driving in the morning, I'd be way too talkative, all this kind of stuff. So here's my best approach in the morning is one, I like to have some relaxing music on, a bit quiet, like top 40, anything, pretty much something on the radio. And when someone gets in my car, I find, especially in the morning, you don't want to be too talkative, which is what I was in the beginning. I even had some times people say, hey man, it's 7:30 in the morning, I'm going to work. And I noticed I got lower ratings when I tried to be too social, right? It's 7:30 in the morning or whatever. So during the morning commuting hours, like 7 to 9 a.m., what I find is not be too talkative, but you can't be too quiet as well. What I like to do is, and I like to call this to be attentively quiet. So if someone gets in my car, I'll say something like, hey, good morning. I have some music playing on in the background. If you need anything, just let me know. So what I'm doing is I'm being still peppy and upbeat. I'm letting them know if they need anything. But then at that point, I shut up. And I'm very attentive to listen to, do they want to talk or not? I've already done a video about should you be quiet or should you talk more in an Uber or Lyft? But what I like to do is kind of be in that middle ground where I'm very attentive. So I'm not just like, hey, good morning. And then I just kind of like go off to the side and don't talk about anything, right? Because I find that can come off worse and almost come off boring. And I've gotten low ratings when I have tried that. So I find the best way to do is be attentive so they know, okay, this driver's alert, ready to talk if he wants to, but then I leave it up to the passenger. And sometimes some passengers say, hey, that sounds great. Thank you very much. And they go right to their phone. Other times, passengers are like, oh yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. So how's your morning going so far? And then boom, I could tell, okay, they definitely want to talk. So like I said, in the morning, especially when it comes to my music, I find I'm going to be like maybe like jazz, classical, maybe top 40 on the radio, basically something on the radio. Have it be, I find, at a lower volume, not too high, and I like to be attentively quiet. That's the way I found when I've gotten the best ratings. I've even gotten some tips of people saying, hey, you know, this driver was a great driver, alert. They were talkative when they had to be, but they didn't pester me in the morning. I'm gonna give them a $5 or $10 tip, which has been great. Now more moving to the evening ride. So I'm talking about 5 to 7 p.m. People are getting off work. As you can imagine, I find the energy ramps up. If I use that same approach in the morning and I say, hey, my name is Mark, let me know if you need anything, blah, 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 and I stop talking, I find I'll still get good ratings, but not as good as if I'm a little bit more talkative. So what I would do is I won't play classical or jazz or anything like that. I won't play anything relaxing. Usually top 40 is my go-to in the evening rides. I find them the best time. And what I like to do is say maybe 1 or 2 lines that are almost tester lines to see if the person wants to talk. Usually somewhere with not necessarily a joke, but some type of human, maybe human's not the right word, but kind of like messing around with them. So for example, someone gets in the car and say, hey, what's up? My name is Mark. You know, how's your day so far? Like, how does it feel to be off of work or just getting off work? So I'll kind of make it like, not like a joke, but like, you know, some kind of comment along those lines. And at this point, I find usually more likely than not, people are like, yeah, it was a long day, it's crazy. And then we'll start talking, and that's a good way to have a conversation. So it's a very low-key conversation, way more talkative than the morning, but I am doing still that kind of testing line. Because of course, sometimes people get in the car, and to some people, they had a long day at work, and they're like, yeah, it was a crazy day, and they start talking about it. Other people are like, I had a crazy day, and I don't feel like talking, right? They just want to almost decompress during that ride. So I find around the evening time, I will use more of like a tester line and then go from there. I find that's kind of the best middle ground because you definitely want to be more talkative than the morning, but not too much depending on the person. Of course, like any time of day, feeling the person out is a good way to go. Lastly now, the nighttime. Specifically, I'm going to talk about Friday and Saturday nights. This can apply to, like, say, a Thirsty Thursday or Thursday night when, like, say, a lot of college kids are going out, but it does depend. And on Friday and Saturday nights, I do a couple different things. One, I've actually done this as a separate video. As a pro tip, I will do what's called a bass adjust. On the EQ of my car, I will turn up the bass. That way, if I'm playing hip hop or EDM, usually I think the two best genres, in my opinion, on a Friday and Saturday night, or I guess top 42. But if you like EDM and hip hop is kind of top 40. But anyway, I will boost the bass in my car. So when the bass hits, it's not super overpowering. I don't want to blow out their eardrums, but I definitely boosted a little bit, and I find I get higher tips when I do that. Now, of course, I have to be very kind of aware of my clientele. Like I said, it's Friday night at 9 p.m., and 3 people get in the car who are elderly, and they just got done with a dinner and they're going home. They don't want to be hearing raging EDM. But I do find, especially when it's like 9:30 or even 10 p.m., I find a lot of people are either A, going to pregame with their friends, they're just leaving the pregame, they're going to the bar, they're going to the nightclub or whatever. And I find they want their ride to be way more upbeat. I gotta be honest, and I may be in a unpopular opinion when it comes to drivers. I don't know. I have talked about this in other videos. I prefer driving on Friday and Saturday nights more than the morning or evening commutes. I definitely make way more money. That's when I make the biggest tips too. And I think the reason why is when people get in my car, I want them to be excited to get from point A to point B, but also the journey of it, I want them to have fun. So if someone gets in my car, the first thing I'll do usually is I'll be way more energetic. Obviously, I will feel them out, like when they get in the car of like, are they just kind of quiet? Or they're usually in a upbeat mood? Have they been drinking? So I definitely will feel it out. And during that time, I say, hey guys, do you want to hear anything? Let me know. I do have an aux cord, and a huge pro tip I do suggest doing this. Have an aux cord with you. Yes, I know Bluetooth right now is in every car, but it's just so much more time consuming. There's been times it took 5 minutes, and that's money I'm losing basically. 5 minutes because I have to go in my settings, connect their phone. A lot of cars now have a security feature where you can't connect a Bluetooth device if the car's moving. So I have to just be sat there waiting. But with an aux cord, you hand it, and I do suggest as well, if you happen to have it, have the iPhone hookup. I know it's annoying, but the iPhone hookup for an aux cord to the the lightning port or whatever on an iPhone just makes it a little bit easier. But anyway, so I'll hand the aux cord saying, hey, play whatever you want, just please don't play any country. Usually is what I'll say. That's usually like my main line that I'll say as a joke. Depending on how the car reacts to that is either a good thing or a bad thing. So once they start playing music, I will usually say something, especially if they're playing good music. I'll be like, oh, this is a good song, and I will turn it up. And then I'll be like, oh, so where are you guys going tonight? Like, I'm also for me, I'm also a DJ and electronic musician. So I will bring up, oh, you're going to this nightclub? Cool, I've actually DJed at this nightclub. So I start talking to them almost as if I'm a friend, but I do have to tread lightly. I do want to be careful, right? Because you don't want to be too annoying as the driver. Sometimes people just want to talk to themselves. So of course, this does all come down to human psychology and just reading people and that kind of thing and having effective communication skills. This is always true. But I find in the nighttime, I would definitely be way more social. Probably not surprising, right? Way more social. Like I said, I'll EQ my car in such a way that the bass is louder. I will suggest if they want to play anything, to throw something on. I might even mess with them a little bit. It should be super upbeat. In my mind, I will almost try to be in the mindset of talking to them as if I'm talking to them at a bar or I'm just getting to know them. I find in the morning and evening commuting hours, I try to be more of a rideshare driver. I try to be more of the aspect of, do you need anything? Do you need help with anything? We're going to this destination. Just like I'll be more professional in a sense. I'm not saying I'm being less professional at night, but I'm being more personable than professional, even though I'm still blending the two. And again, I know this is a very random video to film, but I wanted to do a video about this because I was talking about this with some people and they're like, oh yeah, how is it like driving for Lyft and Uber on a Friday and Saturday night? That's probably one of the biggest questions I get. In addition to, have you ever had anyone puke in your car when driving? Luckily, no. But there's something that popped in my head because being honest, when it comes to the morning driving style, so to speak, or communication style, probably is the better phrase, versus evening versus night, my demeanor, my tone, the music I'm playing, my overall just personality, in a sense, is a little bit different because I find that's what gets bigger tips. In the morning, being more attentively quiet, gets me bigger tips and way high ratings. In the evening, having a good balance where I'm very social and it kind of not too much, but I'm not too quiet, I find gets me the higher ratings and better tips. And then lastly, of course, at night, I find being more upbeat, more excited, almost kind of be like, not a hype man, but like say if someone's going to the club, like there's been even sometimes after people say, hey, we're going to this nightclub, have you been there? And I'm like, oh yeah, actually I have. I'll give them pro tips, almost like a mini tour guide, right? And all this kind of stuff. And I find that's the best way, having that kind of balance from morning, evening, and night to make more money, get high ratings, and of course, get bigger tips.